Joining us now from St. Louis, Missouri, Senator Claire McCaskill, one of the first members of Congress to endorse Hillary Clinton. Senator, you've seen the story in the New York Times. You've heard my discussion with Chris Christie. Donald Trump apparently declared a billion-dollar loss in 1995, which the Times says means legally he could have paid no federal income taxes for years. Your reaction?
Well, if you look at the way Donald Trump has conducted business, he crashes businesses into bankruptcy, leaving scores of businesses unpaid, people really hurting with the losses his companies have suffered. But he walks away unscathed, and it appears he walks away with a golden ticket that allows him under the tax code to avoid taxes for decades. I think that the key here is, how is he going to fix it? Well, look at his tax plan. Guess who his tax plan benefits? Billionaires. His tax plan benefits Donald Trump. That should be no surprise to anyone, since that is the way he sees the world. He doesn't care about those small businesses he didn't pay. He doesn't care about the people who lost millions of dollars in all of his bankruptcies. He cares about Donald.
Well, but let me ask you, because the Times said that they talked to lawyers, and if he did have a billion-dollar loss, that all of this would be legal. They also don't know that he actually did it, but assuming he did, do you know anyone who pays more taxes than they have to?
Well, that's not the point. The point here is his idea of fixing the tax code is to take care of billionaires, and his losses were something he used to avoid taxes, but those losses represent real pain to many people who never got paid. He said that he uses bankruptcy as a business tool. This is a guy who thinks stiffing people, working people, I mean, it's so ironic that he's trying to lift himself up as some kind of champion of working people. Look at his record of how he's treated working people throughout his life in business. It's not a good record.
Senator, as we discussed with Chris Christie, Trump, in an interview with the New York Times, has made it clear he's going to go after the Clintons' sex scandals. He says that Clinton was an abuser and that Hillary Clinton was an enabler. And here is Trump on the campaign trail this week.
The Clintons are the sordid past. We will be the very bright and clean future.
Senator, your response.
Well, first of all, I think that it tells a lot about the character of someone as to what they want to focus on during a presidential campaign. And the American people understand that Hillary Clinton and her marriage is not what's important in this election. And if he really wants to compare his character as it relates to how he has conducted his personal life over his adult life with that of Hillary Clinton, even on that score, she comes out ahead. Because this is not, I mean, this is a guy who goes on national radio and talks about his sex life in detail that is disgusting. Who does that? Who does that? And that's why it's so ironic that he thinks this would be a good idea. This is not somebody who's listening to his advisors. You know, Chris, I have colleagues in the Senate who've been wringing their hands about Donald Trump, and they've said to me, well, Claire, he'll surround himself with good people, and he'll listen to them. Clearly not. He is not listening to the people around him, because everyone around him is saying, don't go there, Donald. Lay off the beauty queen. Lay off the personal marriage situation of the Clintons.
But Senator, I think
no attention.
I think, and you can argue whether it's appropriate or not, I think his point with regard to the sex scandals isn't what Bill Clinton did. It's more what Hillary Clinton did and whether she really is a champion of women, because the fact is, over the course of these years, she has gone after a number of women about allegations that turned out to be true. Let me put a few cases up. She called Monica Lewinsky a narcissistic Looney Tune. She said Jennifer Flowers was a gold digger. Here she is.
You're some failed cabaret singer who doesn't even have much of a resume to fall back on.
And last year, Hillary Clinton at one point said that people who say that they have been raped deserve to be believed. But then she was asked about Juanita Broaddrick, who in 1978 said that she was raped by Bill Clinton.
I would say that everybody should be believed at first until they are disbelieved based on evidence.
Fact is, Senator, Hillary Clinton does have a long record of going after her husband's accusers, at least some of whom were later vindicated.
You know, Hillary Clinton may have defended her husband in various situations, but if we want to compare what she has done for women in her life, how she has worked, I mean, when the cameras weren't rolling, when no one was looking, after a law degree from one of the best schools in the country, she went to work for the Children's Defense Fund. She has said women's rights are human rights when she was First Lady, famously. She has lived a life of championing women's rights. A sponsor of equal pay legislation in the Senate. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is telling hostesses at his golf clubs that they are, you know, telling the people they get them off the hostess decks, they're too fat. I mean, this is really not even a close comparison as who's championed women's rights in their life and who has not.
Even you waded into this subject back in 2006. Here's what you said then about President Clinton.
I had a lot of problems with some of his personal issues. I said at the time, I think he's been a great leader, but I don't want my daughter near him.
Senator, if it was okay for you to discuss then, why is it off limits for Donald Trump?
It wasn't okay for me. I regretted it the minute it came out of my mouth. It was mean, it was unnecessary, and I apologized immediately. That is something Donald Trump doesn't know how to do. If only he would show some humility and the kind of character traits that we need in a president, emotional stability, the ability to be introspective and listen to others. I regret those things, and I apologize for saying that. I don't think we've ever heard Donald Trump say he's sorry for anything.
All right. Well, let's turn to Donald Trump's running feud, which you mentioned a moment ago, with a former beauty queen, Alicia Machado, about her weight gain. You sent out a tweet this week. You said, the Democratic women senators have talked and we're concerned about Donald's weight. Campaign stress. We think a public daily weigh-in is called for. How big a mistake do you think Donald Trump is making?
Well, obviously that was a joke. And we were all laughing about it and talked about the tweet before I sent it out, and several of my colleagues retweeted it. We are trying to make light of a situation that, frankly, has a serious side to it, and that is how he views women, how he objectifies women, how he has, and we're not talking about just in this campaign. As I say, it's important to look at people when the cameras aren't on them, before they've gotten into the bright lights of a presidential campaign. This is a man who has a history of going after women in inappropriate ways, and frankly, even in this campaign. I mean, what he said about Megan Fox, your colleague at Fox, is absolutely, that would be disqualifying in most presidential campaigns. But yet somehow it has not been for Donald Trump. That's why this election is so important.
On the other hand, Hillary Clinton has a record, and doubts persist about her honesty. It turns out, and we found out this week, the Justice Department gave some form of immunity to 5 people involved with her private emails, including her State Department Chief of Staff, Cheryl Mills. And here's how FBI Director James Comey defended that in a congressional hearing this week.
You can call us wrong, but don't call us weasels. We are not weasels.
Senator, if no one did anything wrong, and that's what Hillary Clinton says with the private email servers, although she says it was a mistake in judgment, but if nobody did anything wrong, why are 5 people that were involved with them asking for and receiving immunity from criminal prosecution?
Well, because the FBI was looking at Hillary Clinton as the subject of the investigation. I spent a lot of years as a prosecutor. And by the way, if anybody has worked with the FBI, they would tell you this is not an organization of a bunch of Democratic partisan liberals. This is we do not take sides, we go after the facts, and we are determined to get to the bottom of it. That's why dozens and dozens of FBI agents spent months and months doing everything, including giving immunity, which happens frequently in the course of an investigation, to try to find out if there was anything criminal that occurred. And they came to the unanimous conclusion.
But briefly, why would they need immunity?
Comey said in his testimony that, well, perhaps because they were worried about what, the lawyers say get immunity if you can get it, if you're part of providing information in an investigation. It is common to do, and any prosecutor will tell you this is commonplace, and they were trying to look at Hillary Clinton. They wanted the cooperation of witnesses because they wanted to try to see if Hillary Clinton had done anything wrong. They came to the conclusion she had not. And that is the FBI. That's not some partisan organization. That's why we need to put this to rest. She's admitted her mistake and realize the Republicans are going to try to use this day in and day out because, frankly, they want to distract everyone from the fact that their candidate is temperamentally unfit to lead the strongest nation in the world.
Senator McCaskill, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Always good to talk with you.